thank you to everyone who's joined us so far. And as I said, I'm Sam Nelson. I lead our careers and development programs here at the Printing Charity. This is our first ever webinar giving insight into what we want to see in terms of course choice when you're applying for a Rising Star Award and what the options are. This came about because a lot of our winners from the past years said that this was one of the most difficult things because there's a lot of courses out there, there's a lot of things that you can do. So we want to try and help you with a place to start on looking for courses. If you have any questions during the webinar, the chat function I hope is enabled. So pop them in there. If we've got time at the end and we have the answers to hand, we'll answer them today. If not, we will answer all questions via email and also out to the whole group if it's appropriate for everyone to know the answers. Hopefully you'll have seen our other content about the Rising Star Awards, but if you haven't, if you go to our website as well as the slide on the screen today, there are lots of other webinars, lots of information, lots of infographics about the process as a whole. So what we wanted to do today was give you a couple of perspectives from the employer's point of view and also from the STAR's point of view about courses. So first up, we've got a guest to give us an employer's point of view on development and learning and the importance of continued learning. So Fiona McDonald is an HR business partner at Reach PLC. They are the largest commercial publisher in the UK and Ireland, and as part of her role, she supports Reach's 3 busy print sites. Fiona is passionate about people development and is a keen supporter of the Rising Star Awards. Reach had 4 winners last year, and actually Fiona was very good at collaborating with us in terms of talking about what the applicants wanted and how to apply. So she's got some good insight from both sides of this. So hi Fiona.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very well, very well. Sun's out, so I'm happy.
Good, well, welcome. So first of all, I wanted to ask you, how important do you think additional personal development is in a person's career, and why do you feel that?
Yeah, I mean, in short, personally, I think it's really important. Every day is a school day, as the line goes, and that continuous improvement, continuous development piece feeds into that. I suppose to expand on that a little bit, or this webinar would finish quite early, it broadens your set of skills, whether that be directly related to your job or some of the behavioural or soft skills that sit around it. You could be learning around a subject, so around the nuts and bolts of your job, that helps you to understand it more, helps you to contribute more, and dare I say it, makes it more enjoyable. I think there is that link to job satisfaction. That sort of challenging yourself, stepping out your comfort zone might be a bit daunting at first, but aren't most new things at the start. And I think in our roles, things change, don't they? There's always a new way to do something, a new process. I see it where I am just now. There's always a real focus on continuous improvement in terms of how we do what we do. So additional development for yourself helps to support that, I suppose, and enables you to be ready to embrace that.
Absolutely, and I think it's really important to re-highlight again. People who have seen lots of our content will know that we're not trying to stand in the shoes of employers. We know that Reach and all you guys out there give your guys great skills to do the roles that they want to do, and what we want to do is sit alongside that and give them some additional training. So Fiona, in your experience, this sort of extra training that people undertake off their own back to enhance their careers, how does it help employees stand out from the crowd and also help you guys at Reach notice these guys who are doing things like applying for awards?
Yeah, I think it demonstrates a real sense of, I suppose, accountability, ownership, and commitment, which are 3 of my favourite words to hear when managers are speaking to me about the stars in their teams. Personally speaking, that's absolute gold dust for us. It shows that you want to refine your current skills or expand your knowledge in new areas, which will in turn perhaps generate new ideas, fresh ideas, and that fresh perspective's always great. Got a Spider-Man quote for you. I'm going a bit left field, but with great power comes great responsibility, is what I would say. So don't be surprised if you then get asked to utilize some of those newer refined skills. That's amazing, because I suppose that's a bit of the acid test of whether all of that learning has gone in. Can you put it into practice? So I'll just caveat it with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's another great point, that it's not necessarily about doing training that immediately leads to a promotion or the next role. It's about having a bigger playbook for yourself so that you can then look where you want to go for that next role. Yeah. So these sort of things that you're talking about in terms of soft skills and all those kind of things, when you look at candidates for jobs, what makes them stand out on their CV, sort of course wise?
I'm going to be a bit vague here and say there's probably no right or wrong answer to that. I think the important bit is how you then link it back, how you demonstrate, I suppose, how it's helping you either in the job that you're doing just now, or readying you for the next job, if that's a direction of travel. You know, has it given you experience in something relevant, or is it giving you exposure to something relevant? Theory is a great thing, but it's then about how you go back and then put it into practice. And I suppose, personally speaking, that's what we'd be looking for. I mean, CVs can be funny things and make you cram all of this relevant information into 2 pages, which can be challenging. And if I also think about our own recruitment team, they can sometimes be reviewing hundreds of CVs for the same role. So the more you can make it easy for them, the more you can specifically call out, this is what I've done and this has been the impact. I think the more impact your CV will have, and the more it will stand out.
Absolutely. And I think that's the impact is a great point, because one of the key questions we ask our applicants, and then once they've applied, hopefully they get through to a interview. One of the key questions we ask is, why have you chosen this course, and what the impact will be? And also, again, it's important to reiterate that when we say CVs and recruitment, yes, people will go for other jobs, but this is about making yourself more employable internally as well. So it's not about looking for your next role outside of any business. Actually, Fiona, this is a question that I actually didn't give you to prepare. So I feel mean asking this, but you did assist greatly in having 4 winners last year. Have you noticed changes in them? How have they found the process, and what have they said about both the whole process and the courses that they chose?
Yeah, I mean, I think they enjoyed the process on the whole. I don't think they find it easy, and that little bit of challenge is great, because it shows that you're pushing yourself. But that act of actually having that thing, what do I want to do? How do I want to develop myself? Having those conversations, doing that research, experiencing it, and then, as I say, putting it into practice. And I think it's not just about, I mean, we had a whole variety of courses undertaken in lots of different areas. So we saw a difference in that very specific regard, but also the soft skills that sit around it. They were more confident, more able to sort of articulate how great they were. And I very much believe that they are all excellent, but that it gives them a little bit of confidence. And sort of just keeps that front and center. Yeah, I could go and do this, or I could expand this in the job that I'm doing. And I think that's been great. Yeah.
Brilliant. And did you, when we, obviously I know what we spoke about, but when you were helping them, did they come and talk to you about the impact of those courses and what they were choosing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I won't profess to take the credit for it, because
No,
we had excellent line managers who gave them a lot of support, and that was really helpful, and helpful for me as somebody trying to generate a bit of interest in it. The line managers were all really engaged, which is great. But yeah, you know, we spoke about what types of courses, you know. I'm going to come into some top tips later on, but you know, what format that course would take, how do they like to learn, is that going to be right for them, go and do another Google and then let's talk about it again. And then that support sort of throughout the process as well. So, you know, we did some mock interviews with people ahead of their interview with the judging panel, just to get people used to the technology that's used and get comfortable speaking to a little camera at the top of the screen. But we were led by each individual. Each individual was looking for a slightly different bit of support. So we aligned to that.
Brilliant. I think that's something that I would definitely want to call out here is hopefully you're all looking at the slide on the screen where it says speak to your manager, HR team, mentor, trusted colleagues. So if you're on here as a potential applicant, I think engaging with people around your business about what they've seen in their career, how they've progressed, and maybe what was missing in their learning is really important. And also, if you're an HR team, as I said, I worked with Fiona to talk about the process and everything. So if anyone wants to get in contact, the email address is on there. I'm happy to do that and talk through how we can assist your applicants and give them as much heads up as we can. So I think you're right, Fiona. You are coming on to your last question, which is what would be your top tips for someone searching for a course to enhance their career?
I've got loads of them. I'll try and condense it. So top tips would be, first of all, make sure that you're going to get something from it, and make sure that your employer's going to get something from it as well. I suppose going back to that point about how you stand out from the crowd, that's it. So you might want to think about, you know, the job you're doing just now, where those gaps in knowledge, skills and experience are, or if you are looking for the next step, the difference between those two roles and where those gaps are. I think those gaps are where you will have the most benefit in focusing on. And as I said, those gaps could be directly job related, or they could be broader soft skills, it could be industry knowledge, they will be individual to you. You've covered this already, Sam, but take advice. Speak to those around you, your line manager, HR, your friends, your family. They will all have a slightly different view on it. They'll be coming at it from slightly different angles, which can help you make a really well-rounded decision. I mentioned it already, but do your research, get yourself onto Google. There are lots of training providers out there offering lots of different options. So the world really is your oyster in that regard. On a practical point, I think there's a couple of things. So I think you need to have a think about how you like to learn. So do you want to go into a classroom environment? Do you want to go along to sessions on a weekly or a monthly basis? Would you prefer that to be in a virtual setting? Would you prefer that to be more self-directed and you get the modules and work through them at your own pace? That's really important. Time commitment's an important one as well. You need to have a think about sort of realistically how much time have you got to spend on it outside of sort of your work and your outside of work commitments. Once you've got a clearer idea of those, that will help refine the research. And finally, I am sticking to time, that's good for me. Finally, but personally, I think most importantly, are you going to enjoy it? If it's not something you're going to get some joy from, it's going to be that much more difficult to keep your motivation through to completion. So when you look at it, think, am I going to enjoy this? Am I going to be excited about learning about this? I think that's really important.
Fabulous. Thank you, Fiona. Hopefully everyone was scribbling down notes about those top tips. I guess the only thing I would add to that is that those employers that are listening and those applicants that are listening, for the applicants, when you think about the training, also think, have I asked my employer whether they would contribute, whether this is something that they think they would pay for? Because obviously, you know, they don't know what you want to learn until you ask them. So this isn't your only angle for extra learning. And from the employer's point of view, you know, that if you can think of things that can that you can proactively take to these young people that are building their careers that have helped you, remember to do that, because it is a wide world of learning out there. Also, to assist, Fiona has mentioned about Googling. We have created a list of titles for all the courses that previous winners have taken on. So that will it will give you a basis to look into Google about the titles of courses, the kind of courses that are available, and you can look for providers in certain things. So that will be available to everyone that's registered. So as I said, thank you to Fiona. That's some great stuff from the employer's point of view and from an HR point of view about what learning means. We are also lucky to have two of our 2024 winners with us, Connor Lonsdale and Michaela O'Callaghan, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves because I'm asking them what their role was as part of their questions. So I'll come to Michaela first. What was your role when you applied for your Rising Star Award last year, and what course did you choose and why?
So I was a trade marketing executive at a company that represents lots of different children's publishers to the trade. So we worked across like indies, toy retailers, etc. Now I am a marketing manager, so I can come on to that a bit more later. And then the course that I chose was the Chartered Institute of Marketing qualification. I'm not gonna lie, the grid that you guys have prepared sounds really helpful, because I remember going through and looking through so many different courses to find out the one that best fit me. I think I spent days on it almost, because there were so many options and you never know what is right for you. But I sort of went down the Chartered Institute route because I'd never really done a professional qualification before, and I work in quite a small company. So I knew that actually what I really wanted was that really solid grounding, and really thinking carefully about how I could integrate that theory and that those sessions into my day-to-day role. So yeah, it was a tough one, because there are so many different courses around and there's so much you want to do, but that's why I chose that one.
Brilliant. I think that's a really good example, because although you were marketing was very much part of your role, it's not mandatory to have a professional qualification in marketing. So that was a really good spot and a really good thing to use your award for. Connor, hopefully you are there also and you can hear us. Could you also tell us what you were doing when you applied for your Rising Star Award, and what course you chose and why?
Absolutely. So when I applied for the Rising Star Award, I was an estimator, commercial estimator. So I basically ran quotes for new and repeat business for Gaberis. I sort of just had come out the other end of several large-scale tenders in which we secured several £1 million worth of new business. So I was on a bit of a high. I looked at where I wanted to be by way of essentially looking at my mentor, who's the commercial director, and figuring out, so how did he get into that role? So he had a sales background, but I don't intend on going into sales. So I went with a negotiation course, which is sort of sales strategy, to give me that edge. And then I looked at the fact that he was a leader, obviously being a director. And I mean, I've led projects and stuff, but small scale. So I found the Chartered Management Institute level 3 diploma in leadership and management, and those are the courses that I went for. And essentially, as I say, the reason why I specifically chose them is because they're going to be courses that are going to give me experience in things that I'm not going to get in my sort of day-to-day role as yet, until management roles and stuff like that open up for me. So I think it gives me the fantastic base of theory and knowledge skill set to sort of put me on that trajectory into the director's role, hopefully one day.
Yeah, and well, I suppose, and that's there's two things there, isn't there? It's giving you the skills to do it, but also giving you, I guess, that piece that you can show that you've got the knowledge behind it. I also think that that's good to hear that you spoke to your mentor and looked at what building blocks got that person to where they needed to get to. Fantastic. Right, I'm going to stick with you for the follow-up question, Connor, and then bounce back to Michaela. So, Connor, since winning the award, what difference has both winning it and the training that you've done made to you?
So I'm now I'm still in the middle of both courses, so obviously they're ongoing, but the experience in the way of the soft skills, which we referred to earlier, in the way of confidence. One of the great modules in my leadership course is about emotional intelligence and diplomacy. I think that's just immediately helped me, because in the way of project management, knowing how to deal with people around me more objectively is massively helpful. So there's a lot of soft skills and things like that have helped. I'm now in a senior estimator and commercial analyst role, and I definitely think that the award and the courses that I've gone onto has shown Caveris the drive and aspirations that I've got. So there are now sort of development plans in place for me based on completing these courses and seeing where it's going to take me. I've picked up additional bits to my role in the way of, like say, the analysis, but also picking up other areas of the business. So I think the main thing that it's done for me is give me the confidence and show Caveris what I'm after, basically.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. And I guess having those personal development plans in place, we talk about that as part of the application process and showing us that you're thinking about where you're going with it. But having won the award to be updating that and using the courses is great. Thank you for that, Connor. Michaela, same question to you. What difference has winning the award and also the training that you've undertaken so far made to you?
I'm going to repeat something. Sorry, but the word confidence was said so many times. Both Fiona's mentioned it and Connor, and I do absolutely agree from my perspective as well. I think the course that I'm currently doing is allowing me to have greater contributions, more regular contributions in internal meetings, which is something that sort of I was maybe a bit shy or like maybe didn't want to bring myself forward as much, but now I sort of feel like I have that theory behind me, and I've also been putting it into practice directly with other marketers as part of the qualification. So I think that's been massively helpful. And then I think as well, I picked a course where I knew that there was an interactive element to it as well. So I was directly working with other marketers, which is something that I don't really get to explore as much in my current role, but then also previous roles. So it was a really nice way to see how other people approach situations in different sectors. And as we're such a small company, being able to apply those different thoughts and those different perspectives into new and different ways has been really, really brilliant. And yeah, I think it's really, I think it's also just exciting. I'd been doing like a lot of volunteering, and also I'd been doing like my day job as well, and I had sort of thought these were all brilliant, but I've never really sat down and thought about what I'd like to directly do and develop in. But the actual process of becoming a rising star really gave you that space almost to think, right, what are my next steps and what would I like to do now? So it really helped me sort of cut down my aspirations and be really clear about what I want to achieve in the next 5 years, say. So that's been massively helpful.
Brilliant. I mean, both of you, I guess from our point of view, from the printing charity's point of view, actually that repetition is actually good to hear, because the intangible bits of confidence, of the excitement of winning the awards, of it giving you a boost into thinking about what you want to do, your personal development plans. That's exactly the bits that we find hard to advertise alongside, giving people the tools to choose the right course. Thank you both so much for that. We have just a couple of minutes left in our timing. Liz, have we got any questions come in?
No, we haven't had any questions, but people are obviously... Oh, I've got a hand up from Helena. Helena, I'll try and enable your microphone. Right, there you go, Helena. You should be able to speak now. Nope.
Oh, no, that...
My apologies, that's not working. Are you able to type the question for us, Helena? Sorry about that.
Exciting. The anticipation.
Yeah, apologies for this. I don't know why this isn't behaving itself.
Oh,
Hiya. Hiya.
Oh, hi.
Thank you so much. I had to have a colleague there. I'm obviously, moving on very, very quickly because I need to jump to another one. But first time on this course. Thanks very much. Really informative information, very supportive. Certainly, if anybody knows, I work for Shotton Mill. We've ground building up. We're not producing at the moment. So in terms of rising stars, that is something that's probably a bit further down the line. But I suppose my first question was around, is a rising star an individual or can it be a program? And the reason I say that is because we're carrying out something quite revolutionary on this site. We're doing career conversations. So we've got people who've been in holding patterns for 3 years who we're now having, everyone is having an hour-long career conversation with a trained career coach in actually, what do you want going forward? Do you want to stay as a process engineer? Would you like to become a mechanical maintenance engineer? You know, do you want to stay in IT? Would you like to move over to HR? So I suppose that was why I was asking the question, is it always just about the individual or can it be about the thing that you're building?
Well, it is an individual award. So it's for an individual to apply for and to get up to £1,500 for their training and development. I guess where we play into what it sounds like you're talking about is those people that are sitting down and saying, do you want to be, you're in IT and you want to go into HR? Well, obviously a company may not be able to give full resource into someone to retrain into HR while they are still working in IT. So they can use the award to start a qualification or to get some training in HR to make themselves internally marketable for that role, if that makes sense. So it is an individual award, but it's very non-role specific. It's about picking a course, picking some training that you've thought about, that you're moving towards something in your career, and that could be either something that is in your same strand of work but not core for the business to pay for, or it can be an entirely new situation within the print, the packaging, whichever sector of our supported industries you're in.
That answered it perfectly. Thank you. I'm very clear about that now. So yes, obviously this year would be the wrong time, but next year we would certainly be in a better position where we've hopefully helped people grow and develop in the organisation into new roles. The last thing I would just put on that is that Michaela and Connor talked about their professional qualifications, and I think it's again just really good to share that some of the institutes will do modular builds on, so you can have a bit of CMI, you could have a bit of ILM, and I think that's really important because obviously no one real qualification suits every business, so you've got to build modular. And I think goes back to people's learning styles, their time to do the learning, and very much is much more a build a bear model, if you like.
Helena, absolutely. And that's you don't have to choose one course. The amount is £1,500. Any person can choose any amount of courses and any modules of courses. We just need to be clear on the whats and the whys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Liz, we are slightly over, but has anything else come into the Q&A while we've been chatting there?
No, nothing else in the Q&A, but obviously
Okay.
people are welcome to submit questions after the event to the awards@ email address that Sam shared on the screen.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, thank you all for joining us. Thank you again to our wonderful collaborators, Fiona, Michaela and Connor. We really appreciate your support. Please, all of you listening, do check out our website for all the other webinars, all the other information, and any questions at all. There it is again, awards@theprintingcharity.org.uk. And Rosie and I would be happy to field any questions. So thank you very much again. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.